I can show you. Buddy, hi. Hey folks, welcome. My name is Emily and this is Gently Chaotic Knits, which is generally a video podcast series about what I have been knitting and sometimes some other crafting. I'm laughing because my dog is literally sitting right here looking at me and panting and now he's licking my tripod. That is my dog Norman. He and I live here in Seattle, Washington with my husband, and we may be continuing to do this tug and throw session during the intro. I thought that we got his energy out, but this dog is relentless, and I am fighting with, I'm in a race against the sun. I want to make sure to get this in before I lose the daylight. So actually I have the overhead light on right now and it's probably going to, the artificial light is probably going to make the colors look weird. So I may try to turn that off. I don't know. Do we think this is better? I mean, it's definitely darker. There are like more shadows. Can we see the colors better like this? I think this is better. I prefer not to have the artificial light because I think it really distorts the colors. And depending on if you have like a warm bulb or a cool bulb, it just like really affects the color of the light. So hopefully this is good enough. But anyway, let's get started. So I already did somewhat of the intro. I am coming to you, I think, did I say I'm coming to you from Seattle, Washington? And today is Wednesday, October 23rd. And I am here just with a normal project update video and also a dog play session. That is what I have brought to you today. I have some updates. I have a finished object. I have some stuff that I have been working on. I don't know that I have anything new, so, but I will have new stuff next time because I have plans to cast on new things soon. Sorry, I would just send him up to my husband, but my husband is in a meeting right now, so it's on us. This is our job here to entertain the dog. Anyway, okay, let's get into it. First, I will talk about what I'm wearing with just the use of one of my arms. I am wearing my, what is this called? Seasons cardigan, oversized seasons cardigan. This is by Ozetta. I realized today is the Ozetta podcast. It has been a lot recently, but especially even more today because I'm wearing an Ozetta design as well. And two of my projects I'm going to talk about are also Ozetta designs. So big Ozetta fan here. I actually test knit this one a long time ago. This is my first garment test knit. And I think like my second test knit ever. I haven't test knit a ton, but this is a test knit that I did a while ago. I used Piece Fleece Worsted in the colorway Palomino, and I love this sweater, and I don't know why I don't wear it more. I just came downstairs this morning and was gonna pick out a sweater, and I was like, man, I haven't worn this sweater in forever. And so I pulled it on and I really like it. I think the color is like not necessarily the best color on me, but I love the color and I love the cardigan. I would make this pattern again. I actually have my eye on the season sweater, which is the pullover version of this pattern. I definitely want to make. My friend Katie just made the pullover and it's so cozy and cute. So I definitely have that on my list. But yeah, this is my oversized seasons cardigan. That's what I'm wearing today. I know I often forget to share about what I'm wearing, but I remember today. Okay, let's jump into finished objects. So my first finished object, actually I only have one finished object. So my only finished object for this, I guess not this week, this 2 weeks, is my Handspun Autumn Tails shawl. So I really worked on this a lot in the last week and I finished it. We were actually on a trip to Central Oregon and I just knit on it a ton in the car and I actually finished it. I was able to wear it on the trip because it was also cold enough because we went to Crater Lake National Park and up in the mountain. I would say mountains, but it's really Crater Lake. I guess there's like other mountains around there, but yeah, when we went up in elevation, there was like snow and it was quite cold, especially in the morning. So I got to wear my shawl. I love this shawl. Let me give you all the information. So this is, like I mentioned, the Autumn Tail shawl. This is a pattern by Ozetta. I knit this using my Handspun, which it makes it just even better, even sweeter. I have woven in the ends, but I haven't blocked it yet, and I trimmed them somewhat, but I still left like little nubs. So you may be able to see like the little, where is one? Maybe I did a good job. Oh no, here's one, like a little, just a little end nub there. You can see. Anyway, the fiber I used for this is the Gently Chaotic Knits colorway from YarnJam. The fiber base was Shaniko Confetti Tweed. I spun this up as a 2-ply fractal, so I had 2 braids of it. I split one braid into 4 pieces, and I split the other braid into 8 pieces, and then I spun them all end to end and plied them together. And this is the result, and I really, really love it. I could not be happier with how it turned out. I love the kind of blendy stripe effect, and you can see the ends, definitely the stripes get longer because the shawl itself is skinnier, which I also like, I think is really cool. I've already talked ad nauseum about how much I love this colorway, and if you're unfamiliar, which how could you be, because I never shut up about this, but this fiber was a collaboration with Trisha from YarnJam. She put together the Podcaster collection, which was a set of colorways that were inspired by some of her favorite yarny, fiber, spinny podcasters, and I was fortunate enough to be included as part of that collection. So she sent me some of that fiber to spin up, and I spun the confetti braids together and made the shawl with it, and then I have some of the non-confetti yarn that I have spun up as well that I'm going to use for another project. So I am really, really happy with how this turned out. This pattern is slightly modified, so I did not make it as big as the pattern calls for just because I didn't have enough yarn. So what I did end up doing is I had 2 skeins and one was slightly bigger than the other. So I started with the smaller skein. I just knit it until I finished it. And then, so the pattern has you do increases. So you start on one end, you do increases until you get to the center, and then you knit without increases or decreases for a little bit. You're definitely supposed to do that longer than I did here, but I just use whatever yarn I had. So I ended up doing increases until I ran out of yarn. Then I got the bigger skein and I went flat until that skein weighed the same amount as my first skein, if that makes sense, because then I knew I would have enough yarn to decrease all the way down. That's a little risky with hand spun yarn because if that second skein, if I had spun it thicker, I could have had less yardage than the first skein. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was a little bit risky, but it worked out. I think I gave myself a gram or 2 of extra leeway just to be safe. And I'm glad I did because I went all the way down. I had just like a little nub left of yarn. So but it worked out, and I really, really love how it worked out. I used a US size 7 needle on this, and honestly, it's not too dense, but I think my yarn weight was maybe heavier than what the pattern called for. Although, I don't know, I think it called for a worsted or an Aran weight yarn, and that's maybe about where my yarn was. The 2-ply was probably like a worsted weight. So it was fine, and it's not too dense. I really liked wearing it like this. It's just long enough to wear wrapped around and then like, let me kind of fix it, and then tied. I like to do it this way, where you just wrap it and then tie at the front and just have like a little cute knot like that. I think is so cute, and it's so warm and so squishy. I cannot tell you how good this yarn feels in this fiber. I am absolutely obsessed with Shaniko yarn and fiber. I love it, and I want to make everything. I want to spin Shaniko forever. It's just the absolute best. So, and the shawl turned out so nice. So I think it'll be really nice to pair with some of my more neutral garments. Because it is such a fun pop of color, and the color feels very me because it is very me. So, but I'm really happy with it. I love it so much. I probably can't wear this inside because the heater is going, but that is my finished object for the week, or for the 2 weeks or whatever. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to say about this that I didn't. I don't think so. I think that is pretty much everything. So let me put that away and let me take a sip of water. And then we'll keep going with works in progress. So I don't have any other finished objects this time. I do have some works in progress though. So, and I've got some great updates on my works in progress. Actually, I don't remember last time, where was I? Had I even cast this on yet? Yeah, I had. Okay. I have a big update on my Doppio sweater. So here it is. Let me get it all nice and hold it up. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love the yarn. I love everything about this. Let me give you a little close up. Okay, let me talk about it. This is the Doppio sweater by Seunghee Knits on Instagram, Seunghee Hong, and I am knitting it out of 3 strands of yarn. So these are my 3 strands. So this one is Woolberry Fiber Co. Berry Merino in the colorway Homestead. This one is Sewrella yarn Classic Sock in the colorway Stars Hollow. And this one is Fyberspates Cumulus in the colorway Natural. So I'm holding these 3 yarns together to get this fabric. I'm knitting the size 1 and I'm using a US size 10 needle. I don't know what that is in millimeters. I never know what it is in millimeters. I think I told myself at one point I was gonna make an effort to be better about it, and I have not, and I apologize for that. But yes, this is a US size 10 needle. I have knit the entire body, and I just started the collar last night. So I have picked up for the collar. The collar pickup is a little bit more involved. So the pattern recommends you do a crochet chain first before picking up stitches for the collar, just to give it a little bit more structure so that it doesn't stretch or relax too much, which I had never done before. My friend Maya is knitting this Doppio along with me, and she's a little bit ahead of me, and she did the collar and she did the crochet chain for the collar, and she said she really did think it made a difference. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have done it or not, but per her recommendation, I did go for it. And I want to be completely upfront with you all, I did not have a good time. It may be worth it, but this is gonna be an at what cost moment for me, if I'm being honest. I just did not have a fun time doing it. The crochet chain itself was not that bad, but then the crochet stitches were just so much tighter and less flexible than the knit stitches, which is the point, right? Like, the point is that they don't stretch as much, so your collar is not gonna expand too much. But it meant that picking up the stitches in the crochet chain was just so hard and unpleasant. And I actually ended up doing the entire thing with a crochet hook rather than like sticking my needle in and grabbing the yarn and pulling it through. I think maybe if I used wooden needles, it would have been better, but the metal needles, the metal needles were just too slippery. And so it was not happening. So I just used my crochet hook and it was fine. It just felt like it took so long. And also this was a personal problem and not anything about the crochet chain, but I had just painted my nails like an hour before I did this. So I was like very nervous about, like, I don't know, maybe I just need better top coat or something. I don't know, maybe nail girlies tell me if I'm using the wrong products, but when I paint my nails, it's like they feel so tender for like hours afterward. And it's like, even if they're dry, it's like if you kind of poke it too hard or if you like rub it on something, or like, I don't know, if it's like goes up against your jeans or something, it's like the texture of the jeans gets imprinted in the nail, or like, yeah, if I poke it with something, I'll just have kind of like a gash taken out of it. Anyway, I had just painted my nails, and so I was doing this crochet chain thing, which would, for the most part, was fine. But if it was like, if I was fighting with it or whatever, and I would like slip, and then one nail would get into the other, and I don't know. That part was also annoying, but that was my own doing. That was my own fault. I could have made it easier for myself by just painting my nails afterward, or not doing that at that time. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I made it through. I survived, but then I only did a few rows and was like, that was enough for tonight. So I still need to finish the collar, and then I will just have sleeves left. I was originally hoping that I could finish this sweater by this weekend, because on Saturday, Maya and I are casting on a new sweater, and I was hoping that I could have this one finished before we cast that one on. But, oh, I'm sorry. My dog wants to leave. One second. Okay. What was I saying? I was hoping to be able to have this finished before we cast on that other sweater. I really like to only have one garment on the needles at a time, and I already have 2. So once we cast on Alver, I will have 3. I will actually technically have 4, because I have a unfinished object, or what do you call it? Like just a whip, an abandoned whip, a sweater, or a garment that I was working on that I've completely abandoned. I will be impressed if you can think of and remember what that is. Maybe, I don't know. I was trying to think, I'm trying to gamify this. I'm like, can I make this a game and see if anyone remembers what the project is that I've abandoned, the garment project is that I've abandoned? I will just tell you, it's a long sleeve color tip tee that I was knitting in a really pretty blue Grenouille Co. single. I'm on the body of it. And I just got too excited about fall projects. I was like, I don't want to knit a fingering weight sweater right now. Anyway, that's fine. So I guess, yeah, when I cast on Alver, I will have 4 garment whips, which I don't like. I like to have 1 garment whip. So that's okay. I think this will not take much longer to finish. I think the tricky thing with this, I was hoping that I would be able to finish it much more quickly. I really thought it was going to go really fast, and it has when I have worked on it, but I have had trouble. I haven't been able to work on it like on car rides and stuff as much as I wanted to, because I have to look down a lot more than I thought. Not because it's difficult or anything, but because I'm knitting with 3 strands of yarn, I have to look down to make sure that I get all 3 strands whenever I am knitting. And I don't feel like I have to do that when I'm knitting with 1 strand. I can just feel it. There's a good rhythm, but otherwise I feel like I'm just gonna miss a strand, like miss the suri or whatever, and then realize it and like have to drop down and go back and get it and whatever. So I haven't worked on this as much on like car rides and that kind of stuff. And also I've been busy. I've had a lot going on in my life recently, which I will talk more about later in the life section at the end of the podcast. But yeah, I have just not been doing as much knitting and spinning as I had been previously. So, and that's totally fine. You know, it comes and goes, but that is what I have accomplished on it in the last couple weeks. So I can't wait to have this one done. I am envisioning myself wearing this on Halloween, because I have heard our new neighborhood is really big on trick-or-treating, and our front door is like a little bit tucked back off of the main street. So I proposed to my husband that we like take our chairs out to the end of the driveway so that we can like see all the kids and give them candy and stuff. And I'm worried it's gonna be really cold, but this sweater is gonna be so warm and would be very cute. I mean, it's not like very Halloween-y, but I think it would be a cute fall sweater. So I'm hoping I can at least finish this for next week for Halloween. Maybe that's too ambitious, I don't know. But I just have sleeves left. I feel like it's gonna go fast. Anyway, sleeve in a day. This is a sleeve in a day project, okay? This is like such a thick gauge. I feel like I could actually do it. Okay, is that everything I have to say about this? I think it is. I'm also knitting this along with such a sweet group of pals. We just have like a casual chat about it and have been rewatching Gilmore Girls, and I love that, especially since one of my yarns is Gilmore Girls inspired. So I love a little fall evening, a sweet beverage, watch Gilmore Girls and knit on my Gilmore Girls Doppio is just very lovely. And so doing that with those pals has been very sweet as well. So that is Doppio. Okay, next up, let's talk about Seaway. Y'all, if you watch my last project update video, you know that live on the air, I was realizing that there was a problem with Seaway. I was like, is there a problem? I'm not sure. Well, after I recorded that video, I went to check to see if there was a problem, and I measured my gauge. And let me just tell you, boy, oh boy, was there a problem. Those of you that were watching the video were probably like, yes, Emily, there's a problem. Like, of course there's a problem. Yeah, there was a problem. So let me just give you the overview information about the project, and then we'll get into the problem. So this is the Seaway pullover by Ozetta. Again, this is the Ozetta podcast. This is a Seaway pullover. I'm knitting it out of Harrisville Daylights in the colorway Bloodshot. Did I say that in like a weird and kind of gross way? I don't know, maybe. But that is the yarn. It's a 100% wool, Cormo wool, DK weight yarn. The Daylights line is really cool because they take cream yarn and they add different colors of little flecks in it. This is the reddish pink one. That's why it's called Bloodshot. Gross name. They should have named it something better. Anyway, I'm loving this yarn. Really lovely to work with. Let's talk about what I did. I don't know how this happened. This is one of those things where, like, hindsight and looking back, it's like, Emily, how did you let this happen to you? Basically, I was knitting Seaway on a US size 3 needle. I'm just gonna like wait for a second and let that sink in. Why was I doing that? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't understand what happened. So the pattern calls for a US size 8 needle. I remember swatching because I cast this on during a knit night, and I remember swatching on a US 6 needle. I was actually casting on along with my friend Charlotte, who was at the knit night as well, and she was trying to decide what needle to use to cast on. We were all encouraging her to go up a needle size or 2. I think she was wanting to do a US 4, US 5 or something. We're like, no, you should do a 6, like whatever. Anyway, I was there encouraging her to knit it on a 6. Somehow I swatched on a US 6 needle. Like, I did a little swatch. I didn't do a whole swatch and then bind off and block it, but I did like knit a little bit and measure my gauge just to kind of get an idea of if I was close. I remember doing it on a 6 and being like, this is great. Fabulous. I wind up my yarn, I cast on, I'm going. I noticed that it's a little bit tight. It's not like the most enjoyable thing to knit, but I kind of just thought it was the yarn. Not that I think I may have even mentioned something about this in the last episode or maybe the previous one, that the yarn feels almost, yeah, like, I don't want to say, I don't even know how to describe it. It just felt tight. I don't know what in my brain didn't notice that I was knitting on a US size 3 needle. I don't know how I just thought this was fine and I didn't even question it until I knit most of the back panel. What made me realize it is I held it up to show the video, last project update video, and noticed that it wasn't wide enough to be a drop shoulder on my body. It's like, why is it not wide enough? This is not a drop shoulder width. Now it is. This is a drop shoulder width, but it was not before. So I measure my gauge. Gauge is supposed to be 20 stitches per 4 inches, I think. I had like 25. Not even close, not even close. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go up multiple needle sizes. How did this happen? I cast on a 6. I guess the pattern called for an 8. Like, how did this happen? I pull the needle out. I go to my interchangeable needle set to put the needles back in, and I notice my 6s are right there. What am I holding in my hand? These are US 3s. Why did I cast on using US 3s? I literally have no idea. I think that I had been working on a project before I cast on Seaway that used 3s, and I just accidentally picked up that needle instead of the 6s. I don't know if it's because it was knit night and I was chatting and I was not paying attention and I just grabbed the wrong needle when I cast on. But I knit the entire back panel, not the entire back panel, but most of the back panel on US 3s, and it was way too small. So I can put a picture of how much progress I had made before I ripped it out, because it really did look beautiful. And it was too dense, but I did rip it out and I restarted. So I'm not actually even back to where I was before, mostly because I've been working more on Doppio. So it's actually this way up. It's hard because it really wants to roll up because stockinette, but I can maybe try to hold it up closer so that you can see the texture. If you watched the last project update video, the difference between this fabric and the fabric last time is insane. It's so different. This fabric is so much better. It has so much more drape and it just feels so much better. And the process of knitting this also feels way better than when I was knitting it on a 3. Of course, this is a DK weight yarn. I was knitting it on a US 3. Of course, that was not gonna feel good and not feel right, but anyway, it feels way better now. I am in the middle of the back panel. I still have several repeats. Also, I did notice there's something off because my row gauge was way off. When I was knitting it before, I think I mentioned that maybe on the last video, because I was like, I think I'm gonna have to do an extra repeat of the pattern to get anywhere close to the measurement that the pattern calls for the back panel. And the reason my row gauge was off, again, because I was knitting on too small of a needle. So we are back on track. And this project may be slow going or maybe on pause for a while because I'm working on finishing up Doppio and then I'm casting on Alver, my first ever hand spun sweater. I'm so excited, but yeah, I will have this one going in the background and I am really loving the way that it's turning out. I like the spaced out cables, gives an effect that I feel like I've never seen in another pattern. It's just really nice and feels like waves and it's just really beautiful. So I'm very happy with how that's turning out. So that is my Seaway pullover. Okay, my only other work in progress on the knitting front is my pumpkin socks, as I've been calling them. So I think I mentioned last time that I had finished my first pumpkin sock. All I have done is just the cuff and like 2 rows of my next, of my next pumpkin sock. So I guess let me tell you what the pumpkin socks are. Sorry, it's not focusing really, I don't think. Focus, please. Do I need to do this? Yeah, I do need to do that. Okay, anyway, so here's my first one that's completely done. This is a self-drafted cuff down pattern. I did a slip stitch, heel flap and gusset. The pattern is just a 1x1 broken rib. I did start with a tubular cast on, and I think that's actually why it took me so long to start the second sock, because the activation energy to do a tubular cast on was just too much, simply too much. I brought this yarn and my needle on our weekend trip and I did not knit on it at all because I just could not get the energy up to do the tubular cast on. But I finally did it a couple days ago and I just knit the cuff like during meetings. So I have done very little on this. I really am hoping that I can finish this by the end of October because I wanted these to be like my October socks. Sorry, I think my dog wants to come back in. I'm sorry, y'all. I would just leave the door open, but because like the heater is running in this room, I just don't want, anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this, like I mentioned, this is just a self-drafted. I'm doing a 1x1 broken rib. Oh, okay. We don't know what he's doing. Anyway, I'm doing a 1x1 broken rib. The yarn is the red Pansy in the Voyager sock base, which is a 4-ply sock yarn. and the colorway is Pumpkin Picking. I got this from Indie Untangled last year. And I think it was like the show colorway that the red pansy had for Indie Untangled. And it's really fun. It's really cute. I like it a lot. Yeah, I need to get going on it. I just feel like I'm not excited by sock knitting as much anymore. I use sock knitting as like a on-the-go project, but I didn't even do that when I was on the go this weekend because I didn't want to do the tubular cast on. So maybe I need to stop doing tubular cast on for socks because it's too much of a barrier for me. I don't know. Or I just need to do it at home before I go somewhere. I just didn't have time. Like it was, I don't know, it was kind of hectic before we left on our trip, and so I didn't have time to do that beforehand. Anyway, I just am not feeling excited about sock knitting so much. I have lots of socks that I want and I love wearing, like I'm wearing hand knit socks today, but I don't feel the itch to work on the socks. I feel more of the itch to work on like my garments. So yeah, but hopefully I can give myself a little push and finish these socks before the end of October. But that is all I'm working on. Oh, I'm using a US size 0 needle. I always use US size 0 needle on my socks, and this is a 64 stitch sock. I'm using Magic Loop. Okay, spinning. Let's talk about spinning. I don't have a ton of updates about my spinning. I am still working on this Traveler spin. This is the sample that I think I showed last time, which is so cute. So the spin is for the Traveler hoodie, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I am using 2 different fibers that I'm plying together. So one ply is a gray BFL and the other is a patchwork kit from Hello Yarn. So it's a bunch of hand-dyed, variegated mystery fibers. So you can see if you look up close that like one of the strands is gray and one of the strands is color changing. And this is a big project. I have not made as much progress on it as I would have hoped, but I did finish my first gray bobbin and I have started my first colorful bobbin post sample. I have a pound of each. I used 1 ounce of each for the sample. So this is a 2 ounce sample. And that means that I have 25 ounces of each fiber left. I think I walked through this last time, but I don't have enough bobbins to do all my singles first. So I am doing 5 ounce bobbins and then plying intermittently. So once I finish the colorful bobbin, I'll have 5 ounces of gray, 5 ounces of color, ply them together, make 2 skeins, and then I will move on to my next batch of singles. So I'll do that 3 times. So I will have, at the end of it, I will have 6 5 ounce skeins of yarn. So yeah, I really want to be done with this project before the beginning of December because I would like to start spinning my advent, and I don't know if I'm going to make it because I have less time to spin than I had before. So it's the end of October now. I have a little over a month. So I have, I don't know what, like 50 days maybe? If that. Probably like 40 days. How many days do I have until the beginning of December? November has how many? January, February, March, April, May, June. November has 30 days in it, so that's 30 plus today is the 23rd. So if I count today, then I have, yeah, I've got like not even 40 days. Okay, so I'm not even for 40 days and I have how many ounces of fiber to spin? If we're talking about just the singles, I have like 24 ounces. So I need to be spinning more than half an ounce a day. So I was wondering if I could do this at the pace of during the weekdays, I spin half an ounce a day. And then on the weekend days, I spin 1 ounce, roughly at that cadence. If I would make it, I think maybe I would. But I also have to leave days for plying. I just am feeling like I'm not gonna make it, but I also know that that doesn't make me feel good. And I know that I don't want to put that kind of pressure on myself, and it's not that big of a deal, but I can feel that I'm gonna want to finish it, and so I may kind of go hard at the end. But hopefully it doesn't get to that point. I can keep up with the pace. I'm really enjoying the spin. It's really fun, and I think it's nice to alternate the gray and the color, because it's like, I mean, the gray is just a little bit more boring, and then going to the color and then plying, you know, it keeps it interesting. So it's not just doing the same thing the whole time. But we'll see. We'll see if I get it done. I really would like to, but it may just not, it may not be in the cards for me this time, but if not, that's okay. I still have hope. So we'll see if I make it. That is all I'm spinning right now. I only have just the one wheel and one set of bobbins, so one spinning project for me at a time. And I really need to focus all my energy on it, so I really shouldn't have another project at the same time anyway. I do actually have some acquisitions. I'm pretty sure I had these last time, but I completely forgot to share them. I have not bought any yarn or fiber in the last, honestly, like month, I guess. But I do have some acquisitions from a yarn swap that we did at my knit night, and I want to show you those. So let me see if I can grab those out of here. Oops, the chair is in the way, so I'll have to scoot that. Okay, let's see. Is this, I'll just pull the full skein of this one. Okay. I got a new chair too. Isn't it nice? I really like it. Okay, it's wide enough that I can sit crisscross, which is the important thing for me in any chair. Here's my yarn from Swap. It's all blue. I really feel like I go through color eras, and y'all may have noticed this about me. I don't know. I pretty much cycle through like red, yellow, blue, and gray, and I kind of just go through. And I feel like I've been squarely in like a red era for a while. Like a lot of the stuff I've been working on has been red, I feel, recently, or I don't know, maybe y'all don't feel that way, but I feel like I've been doing a lot of red recently, and yellow too. But anyway, this was telling me I'm re-entering my blue era because I got a lot of blue yarn. So I brought some yarn for Swap as well, which I think I shared all that yarn in my cabinet unpacking video. I pulled out yarns that I knew that I just was not gonna work with for a while, and then I took them, and my friends took those yarns off my hands, and I took some yarns that I thought I might actually use home with me. So the yarns I took home with me, I got these 2 skeins of Woolberry Fiber Co. This is the colorway Natural Blue in the Berry DK base. And I am thinking about making some kind of vest with these. I have really been loving wearing vests. I have my dark red crochet vest, I have my Strata vest, and my like slanty stripes. I just have been really enjoying wearing vests. So I think a vest in this blue color would be really nice. So that's what I'm thinking for these. I also got some Explore Knits Denali sock in the colorway Jokul Sarlon. Probably did not say that right. It's from the Iceland collection, from the Iceland winter box that they did last year. My friend Katie knit, I think she knit a top out of this. Yeah, I think she knit her mini mock neck out of this yarn and had some left over, and so she brought it for me. I have this full skein, and then I also have another partial skein that is just in one of these little baskets in there. So I have like maybe 1.5 skeins of this. I'm not sure what I will use it for, probably some sort of like tea or tank, but I really, really like this color, and Katie knew that and brought it for me. So I have this beautiful yarn. And then I also took this sock set. This is Woolberry also. berry sock set in the colorway Acadia, which I also thought was lovely. And I've been to Acadia National Park and it was beautiful. So I really like this too. I have lots of sock yarn and it's gonna take me a long time to get through it all. I'm thinking about next year, maybe being a little bit more purposeful with my like doing a year of socks type thing. I try to knit socks at roughly 1 pair every month and I'm a little bit behind this year and I don't think I'm gonna make it, but that's okay. But I do really like that. I like that cadence of doing 1 pair of socks per month, and I have enough sock yarn that I think I could, at the beginning of the year next year, pull out like 12 skeins of sock yarn and plan like, this is gonna be my January sock, this is gonna be my February sock, whatever, and plan them all out and then just like knit them all throughout the year. I feel like that would be really fun, but I don't know, we'll see. This could be one of them. So that is my acquisitions. That is the yarn that I acquired. Okay, what else? I mentioned briefly that I'm casting on a new sweater this weekend, and I'll show you the yarn. This is gonna be my first ever hand spun sweater, and I'm so excited about it. This is the yarn. I've shared it on the podcast many times before. It is really blowing out. Wowza, there we go, that's better. I spun this yarn as part of Tour de Fleece this summer. This fiber I got from Rhinebeck, from New York Sheep and Wool last year with my friend Maya when we went to New York together. It was so much fun, and she got the same fiber and she also spun this yarn, and we are gonna cast on our sweaters together this weekend. I'm so excited about it, but what was I gonna say? I lost it. I completely lost my, what is there to say but about there? There's no but. Oh, I think I got distracted because my camera is telling me that I'm running out of memory on my card. Okay, what I was saying is I am casting on this sweater this weekend with my friend Maya. I'm really, really excited about it. And also, as part of that fun cast on that we're doing this weekend, we are also going to record a video together. So I know many of you have been calling for this. We are having a My Friend Maya cameo on the podcast. So it's happening. I'm so excited. We're gonna not do like a normal podcast episode. I'm not gonna go through and like share all my projects or anything. But we are gonna do like a little Q&A. So we have some questions that we'll probably answer that are just like baseline questions, like how we met and I don't know, other stuff like that. But if you have questions for us, if you have things that you are curious about, like examples could be, I don't know, what are our favorite projects that we've worked on, or I don't know, just anything that you might want to know. It can be just Q&A for me or for Maya or for both of us, or just general things that you might want to ask a fiber friend. You are welcome to put comments on this video. I also put a question box up on Instagram today. So I don't know if it'll still be live when this video goes live, but I will probably, maybe on Friday, I'll put up another question box just in case you watch this video and you want to go put your questions there. That's totally fine. Like if, you know, I won't share of like who asked what question or whatever. So you can, I mean, I will see it, but if for some reason you feel more comfortable rather than leaving a comment here, you can do that. So maybe I'll put another question box up on Friday if you have any questions for us, and then we will record the video probably on Saturday, and then I will have to edit it and everything, and then I'll probably put it up next week. So yeah, that's really exciting. Should be super fun. It's gonna be a fun morning. We're gonna have a little brunch, do a little cast on, record a little video. It'll be a lovely day. So that's it, I think, for the crafting stuff. I think that's everything I had to talk about in the knitting and spinning world. What else? I got some big life updates. So I got a doozy of a life update. part of the reason I've been pretty busy recently that I think I'd mentioned in the last couple episodes is just, you know, it's been busy, whatever, and not really talking about why. I actually just started a new job this week. So today actually was my third day at my new job. And I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here. It is not in the fiber arts industry. I went back to a more kind of technical role. So I am working as, my title is actually I'm a Scrum Master. So if you're unfamiliar, if you're in tech, you may know about like agile methodology and that whole world. But if you're not, I'm essentially kind of like a project manager for a online sports data company. So it's like a tech company that deals with online sports data. So I'm really excited about that. I am working fully remote, so I'm working fully from home, which is really nice. I have been getting this whole room set up for work as well as for crafts and stuff. So I've got like my whole desk and everything set up. And that's part of the reason why we took a trip last weekend as well, because I started on Monday. So last weekend was my last free weekend before being fully employed. And so we wanted to take one kind of last minute trip just to enjoy before, if I want to not work on a weekday, I have to take PTO. So, but for the weeks and honestly like months leading up to this point in time, I had been interviewing. I actually had like a couple different opportunities that I was managing. And so that is what has been keeping me busy, is just going through that process. And even if it wasn't like super time consuming, which at times it was, but also just mentally and like physically exhausting just to be going through all of that. And like, job searching is not fun. It's really not fun. And so there were times that were certainly a struggle, but I am really excited about where I landed and I am feeling really good about it. As far as how that affects this space and my like my podcasting and my designing. I mean, I have not released a design in quite some time just because of other stuff that I've been working on. Well, not even other stuff that I've been working on, because I had other stuff in my life that I was doing, traveling and finding a job and moving and all that kind of stuff. But this does not mean that I'm like completely giving up designing. I actually have some ideas that I'm excited about, and I'm hopeful that I will still be able to do that in my time outside of my work. If y'all remember, actually, when I started designing, when I released my first couple of designs, I did that while I was working full-time with the Seattle Mariners in that role, and that was honestly more than a 40-hour-a-week job. So I am hopeful that I'm still able to do this. And actually that's when I started the podcast as well. When I started doing these videos was also when I was working full-time. So I am hopeful that I am still able to do the same rough kind of cadence for my podcast episodes that I'm doing now. So hopefully project update videos every 2 weeks. I had been for a while trying to fit in every other week doing like extra videos that were not project update videos. And I think those are going to be a lot more infrequent, like as they come, we'll see. So like this Q&A video I'm going to do with Maya, I will publish in, you know, an off week from the project update videos, but I don't know how much else I will do. I will try to still do some of those if there's something that I'm excited about that I want to record other than the project update videos. But I am going to try to stick to the every 2 week project update videos. I'm still going to be trying to knit and spin beautiful things and share about that with y'all and over on Instagram. And like I mentioned, I do still have some interest in designing, but it will probably be pretty infrequent. I'm thinking like maybe 1 or 2 designs a year if I feel really excited and inspired by something. And I do have ideas and I am excited, but it may take me a little while to get back into that, and also to settle into my routine and my new job. So yeah, that's the big life update for this one. Otherwise, like I mentioned, we went on that weekend trip and it was absolutely lovely. It was so nice. We went to Crater Lake one day and then we just spent some time in Bend, Oregon. We did some other hiking around there. We did like a moonlight starlight canoe ride, which was so cool. We went horseback riding again in the most picturesque place. I'll try to put a picture here. I don't have any pictures from the canoe ride because it was dark out as intended, so no pictures from that. But yeah, we had a great weekend. It was really nice. This is, I don't know if this is like a fun thing to share, but my computer completely just died on me that I was using for like editing these videos. Actually, my last project update video, I didn't even mention, of course, because this happened after I recorded, but editing that was an absolute nightmare. My computer was just like not operating. So I have been able to get a new setup for that, and I have a new computer for my editing. So hopefully that goes smoother and I have less problems with it. I know I don't think it really affected y'all and the videos, but it affected me and it was difficult. So should be better going forward on that front. Let me think about what we've been cooking and baking. I made apple cake, not this last weekend, but the weekend before, and it was lovely. Really, really good. I will share the recipe that I used down in the description box. That was really nice. I am attempting another sourdough loaf today, actually, and we'll see. I'm using a new recipe that my friend Serena sent me, and I'm not sure how it will go. I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic. I'm nervous though. So we'll see how it goes, but after I finish recording, I will go up and check on that. What else? We are making a like pumpkin cream sauce chicken later this week that I'm really excited to try. Earlier this week, what did we make? Like a Mediterranean chicken and rice, so yummy. And then this weekend, I am gonna make apple cinnamon scones for sure, and then we're gonna try making shakshuka, which of course you have to do when you have homemade sourdough, because like the homemade sourdough bread with the shakshuka and it's gonna be good. So we'll do that maybe on Sunday. Yeah, I'm trying to think about what else. Otherwise, we're vibing. It's definitely fall. It's starting to get really cold and rainy here, which, you know, I expected. Pros and cons, like it definitely feels cozy, but it's also cold and wet. So, but I mean, we knew that. We chose to move back to Seattle, so we knew that coming in. And that's it. I feel like that's, I don't know, that's kind of it. That's the big life thing is new job. And yeah, so thanks y'all for tuning in. Thank you for watching these videos. It means a lot to me, and all of your nice comments and messages and everything always means so much to me. Definitely let me know if you have questions for me and Maya. We are so excited to record this weekend. I think it's gonna be really fun, and we can share some of our matching knits that we've done. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a blast. What else? I think that's it. So I hope you have a great week, 2 weeks, and I hope you do lots of knitting and spinning. And it is World Series is about to start for baseball. It's Dodgers, Yankees, yuck. Sorry if you're a Dodgers or a Yankees fan, but it just kind of feels like, I mean, Yankees are like ultimate villain in my mind, and the Dodgers also. I mean, I'll probably root for the Dodgers, but it's just, you know, there's really like, you want to root for an underdog, and there's no underdog here. So yeah, but I think I just like the players on the Dodgers better, so I'll probably root for the Dodgers. But anyway, yeah, World Series is starting, so watch your baseball if you want. And I mean, and watch football too. Football season, we're doing well in our fantasy football. I know no one cares about that, but it's going well. And yeah, I hope you have a great couple of weeks, and I will talk to you later. Bye.